Good morning, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Sorry I didn't get a chance to finish mine yesterday. We're going to talk about part 2 today a little bit here. But my power on the phone was kind of going bad, so I didn't want to get cut off. So I figured that I'd stop it at that point. But we're going to continue that discussion in a few minutes here. Thanks a lot for all your comments and for all your likes and subscriptions. Thanks to people out there like Leo commented yesterday. Wonderful. Eduardo made a good comment. I'll kind of focus on that a little bit in coming weeks. Some great stuff from a lot of you guys. Thank you so much. LZ, thank you. Once again, great stuff from all you guys. And so I'll kind of go back on that and look at my list a little bit when the the sun comes out a little bit. But let's talk a little bit about the second half of this. So yesterday, remember, we talked about the discussions I had with some of the female students and talking to some females in the college class that I'm teaching. And so I kind of was during a break or something. We asked about the fact about, you know, why do women attracted to, you know, men with, you know, like bad boys or, you know, type of guys like this. And a lot of it comes back down to, as we talked about yesterday, the energy. The energy level is something that we don't really focus a lot on. We think it's a lot of deal with looks and, you know, outer types of things. And yes, those come off as being part of it, but the real key to a lot of it is the idea of that you basically are emitting some energy. I got some ambulances coming over here, but you got some energy level that's really very strong. And as you see that, you see how strong that energy level is, and that's what attracts people. People really are attracted more by the energy levels people have. And so as you look at this, they tend to really be attracted to your energy levels. And so as you focus on other people, and as you talk to other people, they see that. They see you, and they see that energy level you're seeing. I'm sorry, guys. There are a bunch of ambulances running around here in the morning here. Something's happening. But, so when we come to attraction, a lot of comments that I had made yesterday were, you know, I thought was very interesting in the responses that they had. That a lot of young ladies focus on this a great deal. And they focus more on the energy level because they're looking to match energy levels. And a lot of times, if they have a low energy level, they're looking to have somebody. And we talk about, you know, I kind of half joke about this energy suckers and vampire suckers. And a lot of people don't realize they're actually doing this. But what they're really looking for is they're looking for the energy. And as we talked about this is subconscious in most people. They can't really tell you they're doing this. They have no clue about what they're talking about when it comes to this type of thing. But the thing is that they're basically kind of looking for energy. They're looking for you to kind of give them energy or be around people that have that level of energy. And that's kind of what we're talking about here when we talk about all this attraction. We're really talking about people who tend to really focus on your energy. And if you can continue to keep your energy up, you'll find people will be attracted to you all the time. Now, how you act upon that and how you behave once that happens is kind of the key to the whole situation for you. I mean, obviously, it's a two-edged sword. I mean, you don't want to go ahead and, you know, then become going down that rabbit hole and become, you know, get involved in temptations and things like that, where you end up losing your energy because you tend to lose your power. And your power becomes weak, and just like Samson and Delilah, Samson becomes very weak. He can't protect himself. He can't protect anybody. And he basically loses that beast-like quality. And so we talk about this. The other interesting thing, and I think Jihad and a few other people mentioned this as well, that when you end up having somebody who's focusing on this and they lose it, they become less attractive. And so this is why it's important to keep this up and only lose that energy at times that you want to procreate or you want to, you know, give it to one person that you're interested in. You know, the second part of it I really wouldn't be doing either. But I know that in this kind of society, the way people are, you know, people do sleep a lot around with a lot of people nowadays. I really wouldn't do that. You know, I would definitely kind of wait until you get married, but this is really old-fashioned. And, maybe a lot of people don't believe in that anymore, but I do. I think, once again, it goes back to the whole philosophy we've been talking about. People should be holding on to their seed. They should be waiting until they become more ready with one person. And the focus should not be just going around and going ahead and sleeping with anybody that they see. And this becomes a lot more dangerous in many ways. But from the physical standpoint, you're draining yourself. From a mental standpoint, how can you trust people? How can you establish anything if you're, having multiple partners during the week and not really kind of establishing any kind of situation? So this is why, in talking with these young ladies, it's very apparent to me that what they're seeing from a psychological standpoint is basically that energy you have. They're looking at your energy. They're looking at the energy that you have as you go ahead and talk with them and interact. They feel it. This is why you have a lot of staring going on. This is why you see a lot of women who just, and I noticed it last night, just a lot of staring. And because they sense an energy, and they can't explain it, but they just kind of sense an energy that they don't see with most people. And I think this is why semen retention becomes such an important aspect of your life. Because you feel like you feel superpowers. You have such a strength. I mean, even at 61 years old here, I feel so strong compared to the way I was before. So strong. It's unbelievable to me. And I know other people see that, and they react to that. They're very kind, respectful, very polite, a lot more than they used to be, right? And attraction levels, you got people winking at you and all kinds of other stuff. Obviously, they're trying to, flirt with you and all kinds of different things like this. And, they know that I'm married. They know that, they know that I'm not really interested in that kind of stuff. But they can't really, I guess they can't really help themselves in many ways. And this is what kind of the girls were saying to me. They can't help themselves because the energy level is so attractive that this is what they're looking for. Because you remember, we talked about this before, a lot of women, they can't maintain that energy level during the month because of their period. They have their cycles and things like that, and so they lose their energy during a period of time. And so they only have it for periods of time, and so this is why they become a lot more attractive to you, because you basically are the person kind of giving them the energy. And I think that's an important type of thing to kind of look at as you go through. And so this is why it's important to keep focusing on building your energy, building that strength within you, and building that kind of confidence that comes with that. And this is why that as long as you continue doing it on your streak. And like I said, we have lots of people who have streaks and they relapse and they go back. And it's much more difficult when you're not younger, and I've said that before. But always remember this, guys, that it is your energy that what people are looking at. This is why they become attractive, because of your energy. And I think I said an interesting thing yesterday, and I want to go back to it a little bit because we ran out of time. But the idea is that once women, it's almost like that Beauty and the Beast analogy again. You have that energy level. You have that strength that makes you masculine male. And I know in our society we talk about a lot of this stuff that people don't want you to be masculine, or they have a negative connotation to it, or all these things. And in my opinion, they're trying to demasculate men. And a lot of it's because men have that superpower that they believe that other people can get. Well, that doesn't work that way. And the bottom line, all men are doing is kind of weakening themselves, and they become less stronger, less protective, and they can't really fight, and they can't protect, and they can't provide. And so it becomes a very destructive world, and this is what's happened to many empires over the years. Now, can we stop this in our world? Well, we'll see. But the thing is that we're going to take it one step at a time, and as males, especially, we need to practice this, because I tell you what ends up happening, and we said this yesterday in our discussion. We talk about this idea that if you're a beast and the woman sues the beast, most of the time the woman doesn't want you anymore, because it becomes, as these young ladies were telling me, it becomes the challenge. the challenge for them to actually see if they can kind of soothe that beast. And this is something you have to remember. You have to remember that even though we kind of look at things, and I've seen lots of videos on this, we look at things saying, okay, the woman is the table, the prize, and things like that. That's not the case. That's not the case. In fact, both people have great attributes. But the male has unbelievable value. Their strength, their ability to do things is unbelievable. So don't listen to a lot of this nonsense. They have their own issues going on. And, you know, for whatever reason that they feel that way, they're not going to have many good relationships as they go through because they don't realize the value of men and women. And once again, the value is very strong. Men have masculine energy and females have, and women have feminine energy. And those two need to be respected for themselves. You can't cross the lines. You can't start giving each other all the kinds of energies and things like that. Now, the transfer energy can be effective, of course, when it comes to having children and things like that. But we as men tend to focus so much on losing energy all the time because this is something where people somehow tell us this is a great thing that, you know, and I believe that for, you know, 40 some years. And now what you really figure out, and what I figure out is the truth of the matter, is that it's not. And this is the reason why over the centuries people have had lots of celibacy and not kind of focusing on those things that you know, kind of hurt them when it comes to draining their energy. But just remember that once you are soothed as that beast, most people don't want you because you weren't the way you are. And this is why it's interesting when you see relationships over the years, and I've counseled people and helped people, that a lot of times the people want to change each other. Well, you start changing each other. What they're really meaning is taking that beast and soothing the beast. That's what they're really talking about, in my opinion. And you just, if you allow that to happen, all of a sudden you change. And all you got to do is kind of look at some people, and especially some people who have been married a long time, and they change. They're no longer that beast any longer. And this is why people get divorced as well. After a period of time, people leave. There's no more of that energy level that you need to have, especially from the male. The female, it's understandable because, as I said, every month they lose their energy until they get into menopause. Then it might be a little different situation, but I think certainly women lose their energy. They're going to be those type of things because there's a purpose for that. But in males' cases, there isn't. And males should have all that strength, all that ability to protect, to provide, and have that energy with them, you know, throughout, you know, eons and ages. And as I showed you and talked about the Fountain of Youth book, that's a recipe to live a long, happy life and successful and powerful, you know, through the world and helping the world and protecting your town, protecting your family, protecting the world from invaders and people like that. So we're talking about trying to build yourself up. We talk about this whole idea of what these women had told me a couple days ago. And basically, yesterday, a couple days ago, I think it was, the idea that you really kind of, your aura, your energy always comes out. And yes, you might be looking at a person, and you might be looking at their eyes, you may be looking at their face, you may be looking and see how attractive they are. But guys, this is an illusion. This is kind of an illusion in front of you. It's the vibration. I think we're going to do another topic on vibration, but it's the vibration and energy that you have that changes everything. And once people see that energy, they become hugely attracted to that. And they will, in some cases, do anything to be around that energy. So, and you can say anything you want to say. And this is why people tend to react to people like they do. I believe it goes back down to the energy. Whether a person is nice or mean to you or whatever it might be, they still have that energy that people want. And so people will still hang around that person, even though that person is somebody who is not, you know, maybe the best person in the world. And this is why you see a lot of women focus on these bad boys, especially when they're younger. And they know the guy is not going to be good for them in the long run, but they still have a focus on the bad guy, or the Chad, or whatever you want to call it. You know, the person who may not be good with them and doesn't care about them all that much. But it's because that energy level is so great that they want that energy level, and they become attracted to that. And this is where it's very powerful. This is why we talk about, you go back to some of the stuff I've done about, masculine energy. And I know I got to do one on DMX at some point here too. But I did one on Bela Lugosi. And the thing about it, these things don't change over the history. And I know I'm going black on you guys a little bit. I apologize, but it's still kind of dark outside. But the thing is that you get to the point where you're focusing on a person's energy level. And even though this movie was back in the 1930s, you could tell that Lugosi's energy level was so strong, which is why women flocked and loved him. Now, as he got older, he lost that energy, and a lot of things happened, and so he wasn't as effective. But that whole role he had as Count Dracula was that way. And people don't realize that the energy, the nutrients, the seed that you have is what creates that energy level in you over time. And if you lose that, you lose a lot of your superpowers. And the superpowers really come from all that energy. And this is why it's crucial to keep that energy, not to lose the energy, and not to just kind of look at a temptation for a short pleasure, because in the long run, you lose out. All the great benefits of clarity, of focusing, of ambition and goals and successful things. Somebody had mentioned about how their businesses are better, if they stop watching porn and things like that. Of course, exactly right. You're focusing on goals in yourself. You're doing things with that energy instead of focusing on releasing it all the time. Now, there's times you're going to be excited, aroused. That's going to happen. That's going to happen. It happens to all of us. But what you do with that is important. Obviously, you're always in the back of your mind. And the longer I've been on this streak, which is almost 875 days, something like that, pretty soon, you're focusing on the long-term goal. And the long-term goal is to get to Jesus, get to God, closer to God, and in my case, make myself the best person I can become. And that doesn't happen when you're releasing 4 or 5 times a day. And so that's what's kind of driven me to keep this streak as long as I can, to kind of focus on it. So every time I think about it, think about the opposite, I stay away from that because of that reason. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you were able to see this one. I know it was kind of dark at times, and I apologize, but hopefully you listen to my voice and able to get something out of this one today. But again, part 2 of our exercise, talking about, women and talking about retention. We'll do a bunch more as we go on. A lot of great ones coming up. And I want you guys to have a great day. Continue to remember to battle on. And remember that your benefits will outweigh all the problems or all the short-term pleasure you think you're getting out of releasing. And unless you're doing it for a purpose, I wouldn't even consider it. Go monk mode and just continue to do that. And continue to focus on yourself. And even those times when you get tempted, you can kind of fight back and battle those invaders off as they come through the door. All right, guys, have a great day. And remember, every day is a wise day, is a new day to a wise, wise warrior. God bless you guys. Have a great day and battle on, my friends. Battle on.